This week on ANN, Adventist Church President Ted Wilson discusses the link between creation and other fundamental beliefs at a Bible and science conference.
Tens of thousands of young people participated in this year's Oshkosh International Pathfinder Camporee in the U.S. state of Wisconsin.
And the Adventist Church encourages leaders and congregations to participate in an anti-abuse initiative.
These stories and more coming up.
This is ANN, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, Adventist World Church President Ted Wilson stressed the fundamental belief that God created the earth in one literal week. In a keynote address last Friday at a Bible and Science conference in the U.S. state of Utah, Wilson urged educators to hold firmly to literal recent creation and absolutely reject theistic and general evolutionary theory. The 10-day International Conference on the Bible and Science has given 350 participants the chance to explore 3 geological sites and learn more about archaeology, geology, paleontology, and biology. To read Wilson's full remarks, visit news.adventist.org.
The Cooper Adventist Hospital in Liberia is continuing to deliver health care in the midst of the Ebola virus outbreak in West Africa. Dr. James Appel, a family medicine physician who spent the last decade serving in Chad, arrived at Cooper Adventist Hospital in Liberia last week. He will provide medical care with Dr. Gillian Seaton, who has served at Cooper as a general surgeon since February. The 45-bed hospital is located in the heart of the nation's capital, which is home to 4 million people. Liberia is one of the 4 countries in West Africa experiencing the current Ebola epidemic. This week, the World Health Organization reported more than 1,200 people have died from the virus this year.
Church leaders asked local congregations to designate part of their Sabbath services on August 23 to raise awareness of domestic violence, sexual abuse, and other forms of mistreatment. This year's theme for the End It Now Abuse Prevention Emphasis Day is Freedom in Relationships. The Emphasis Day has been held the 4th Saturday of every August since 2001. Church leaders are also urging members to sign an online petition addressed to the United Nations to endorse End It Now as a global campaign.
If you have a Pathfinder at home, you no doubt know that the 5th Oshkosh International Pathfinder Camporee just took place in the U.S. state of Wisconsin and drew more than 46,000 Pathfinders from 60 countries.
More than 46,000 teenagers and young adults gathered for the largest camporee in the history of the Pathfinders. Among the clubs that were registered, over 50 countries were represented, including 100 different nationalities if you count the thousands of visitors who passed through the huge camporee during the 5-day event.
Hi, I'm Mosh from Hong Kong.
We're the Pensacola Gators! Welcome to Oshkosh!
Jamaica Union at Oshkosh Camporee.
Morning Grove Film Church!
From Miami to Alaska, Korea to Kenya, which is almost 13,000 kilometers away from the venue, flags, languages, and cultures came together for the International Camporee, which the theme was Forever Faithful.
No somos todos iguales, pero lo que nos hace exactamente iguales es ese gran amor que tenemos por Cristo Jesús.
It is impossible to participate in all the attractions of the camporee in only 5 days. It will take at least a month to take part in all the activities inside and outside of the campsite. The exciting thing is that you can choose from the many available options and do the ones that you like the most. Among the various activities, there were the specialties to come to a new level of understanding and knowledge, perhaps be exposed to a profession. Among the new specialties, an Italian group brought pizzaiolo to the camporee, something that had only been done in Europe, a tasty activity. Exchanging and collecting pins is a craze among the Pathfinders who come to the camporee in Oshkosh. Nathaniel begins his collection in the camporee with only 4 pins and had reached 24 at the time of the interview.
My favorite one I would have to say is this spinning one because it spins around and it shows all the flags of different countries. It has Brazil, Canada, United States, Mexico, Puerto Rico. It's really nice.
After coming to Oshkosh Campuri for the first time in 2009, the Cruzeiro do Sul Brasilia Club learned how the game works and brought one of the most coveted sets of the event, a set forming the flag of Brazil. In many ways, the Pathfinders stand out as teenagers who are different from the norm. Besides the uniform and the principles of life that are based on the Bible, these boys and girls are admired wherever they go. After a flawless presentation, the Costa Rica club won the gold trophy in the freestyle category. Instead of competing against each other, all the Pathfinders between 10 and 15 years of age have the opportunity to achieve the maximum score.
Bueno, los muchachos con mucha paciencia y mucha determinación. Además, los padres, con la cooperación de ellos, pudimos obtener el éxito.
The evening programs were another highlight of the camporee. Every evening, a part of the story of the biblical character Daniel was told in the form of a musical involving an elaborate artistic production. Just like Daniel, throughout the event, Pathfinders were invited to stop and pray 3 times a day at the sound of the shofar. Getting to know God better by participating in the Pathfinder Club, more than 600 teens decided to follow him for the rest of their lives, sealing that commitment through baptism, like 12-year-old Caesar, who lives in Texas. As he was baptized, this young Pathfinder had a desire in his heart.
Que eu queria todo mundo ver eu batizando e a decisão que eu fez para ele seguir eu e o jeito que eu fiz também.
More than 2,000 volunteers recently dedicated a week toward making positive changes in their communities in Caracas, Venezuela. The church's Close to You Caracas initiative was an effort for members to share God's love through acts of kindness to local residents. Church leaders and members worked together on various projects, including feeding the homeless, offering vacation Bible school to thousands of children, and beautifying parks and schools. In partnership with local charities, women were able to donate their hair to help make 200 wigs for women and children fighting cancer. This is the second annual coordinated event to reach the city of 5 million people. The week-long event was reported by national television, radio stations, and newspapers. The Adventist Church in Venezuela has 1,000 congregations with more than 280,000 members.
Nearly 100 people in the Solomon Islands dedicated their lives to God through baptism as the result of a youth congress in the island's capital city. Record in Focus has more.
At a recent nationwide youth event in the capital, Honiara, 97 people were baptised as stories were shared about the impact of the Bibles and Discipleship Training Program provided through the World Changers Adventist Youth Ministry initiative.
In the last 3 years, we have distributed over 200,000 World Changer Bibles throughout the South Pacific. And so we're really excited about that. It's this Bible right here. And young people, they come, they get trained, they can use this Bible, they can share their faith with others. And yeah, they feel ready and equipped to do that. Anybody can do it. It's simple.
A Chinese Adventist media team recently won a 3rd place award in a gospel short film competition in Taiwan. The film, My Father, is an 11-minute movie telling the story of a father's ultimate love for his wayward son. The competition drew the entry of 65 films and was sponsored by the Christian Tribune Foundation. The film was created by a production team of 8 people working with a budget of $1,500. The team has conducted internet evangelism for 6 years and began producing films 2 years ago. The film's director, Shi Tu, said the goal of participating in the competition wasn't to win, but to attract and encourage more young people to participate in internet evangelism ministry.
And finally in the news, cereal lovers of the world rejoice. The whole grain cereal produced by the Adventist Sanitarium in Australia was voted as the nation's most trusted breakfast food, according to a Reader's Digest survey. Weet-Bix was also voted in the top 10 most trusted Australian brands in an annual independent commissioned consumer survey. The Sanitarium Health and Wellbeing in Australia is a food company that is dedicated to making products that promote holistic, healthy habits for Australians.
Coming up, find out where you can learn more about bridging the gap between the churched and unchurched.
As I was reading through The Great Hope, this sentence stood out. All who could read were eager to study the Word of God for themselves. They carried it about with them and read and reread and could not be satisfied until they had committed large portions to memory. One of the great things of the Protestant Reformation, written about in this book, is how the Scripture came to people and was useful to them in their daily lives. That's something that's still true today. God speaks to people through His Word, the Bible, and particularly through His New Testament, which talks about salvation by grace through faith and a wonderful future ahead for those who believe. I draw great inspiration from that, and it's something for which I'm truly thankful.
Welcome back. The current edition of Ministry Magazine shares how the former president of the Adventist World Church examines practical ways to spread the gospel in his home country of Norway. Willie Hux has this report.
The pastor lives in three worlds: the world of the Bible, the world of his or her congregation, and that of his or her community. The minister interprets the Word of God and applies it to those who attend church, as well as to those who live in the neighborhood surrounding that church building. But while there is a clear and understandable foundation of knowledge upon which the preacher and parishioners build, often it seems that the gap between churched and unchurched, between the religious and the secular, appears to be more of a chasm. How do we bridge this divide? In the September issue of Ministry, Jan Paulsen, retired president of the World Church of Seventh-day Adventist, takes a candid look at his native country of Norway, a highly secular land, and asks the question, how can we effectively witness to the power of the living God in a society that has largely consigned Christianity to the realm of history, literature, or to the very naive? Dr. Paulsen and his wife share a concept that has gained traction: health ministry. Veteran evangelist Mark Finley, in his article, also picks up this same theme of comprehensive health ministry, encouraging churches around the world to pursue the same approach that the church in Norway has undertaken. While health ministry forms a clear theme for the upcoming ministry, another theme that becomes readily apparent is that of the need to mentor young pastors. Roland Fisher shares a detailed program built upon 4 pillars that serves as a model for both pastoral mentors and their trainees. In another article, Jean Weber mentors her son via a personal letter, stressing the necessity of developing a spiritual life even before developing the public ministry. We hope you enjoy these and other articles in the September issue of Ministry.
We previously reported on a fitness program that was set to take place at the Oshkosh International Pathfinder Camporee with the goal of motivating young people to get active. During the camporee, Dr. Katja Reinert shared the results of the In Step for Life 3-day challenge.
This week we had a 3-day In Step for Life challenge. This was a challenge for our Pathfinders to be fit for God and to choose life in every way, physically, mentally, spiritually. So what we did, first day we had a 5K run in the morning. Second day they had a boot camp challenge. We did different types of exercises, push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, and we're counting how many they could do in a minute. And then the third day we had a 1-mile run. And so clubs trained to be here with their clubs because we accumulated points each day towards the club. So we could see which clubs really did the best in terms of preparation and times and participation as well. So we gave them points for participating, for winning awards, and overall we awarded 10 top clubs with check and several other awards. This is important because God tells us we have a temple to take care of. He wants to abide in us, and we have the responsibility to take care of our bodies so that we can have a stronger connection with Him, have clearer minds, and be able to communicate with Him in a much deeper level that affects our spiritual life in that way. But also because we're living in an age where there's all kinds of chronic diseases, and unfortunately we have an epidemic of obesity among children, among teenagers, and adults. And so we have been for the last 3-4 years at the NAD Health Ministries with this initiative trying to engage our young kids early on in physical activity particularly, and eating healthy so that they can both prevent childhood obesity or obesity and also treat that if that's a problem, but also just to realize how important it is for them to take care of their bodies.
If you're familiar with the writings of the Adventist Church's co-founder, Ellen G. White, you may have discovered that she frequently wrote letters during her ministry, but you may not be too familiar with the people she addressed. For this month's Review and Herald Book Report, Samuel Thomas Jr. shares more about Ellen G. White letters and manuscripts with annotations, which provides context to White's letters.
What if you could have access to everything that Ellen White wrote? Wouldn't it be great? Except you wouldn't know who she was writing to, what she was referencing, or what happened afterwards. Introducing the first volume in the series called Ellen G. White Letters and Manuscripts with Annotations. Thanks to extensive research, you get the full context around everything she wrote from 1845 to 1859. Every letter, manuscript, and diary entry is illuminated with many details that you would otherwise miss. You see the date that the item was written and a summary of the content. Complete names are added to the manuscript, and you can learn more about the identity of the person. Get explanations for old expressions we don't hear anymore, such as snug dealing and plank road. Be alerted to allusions to songs and poems that have been obscured by the passage of time. You'll also discover additional resources on the subject. In the past, readers were often left wondering about the outcome of an event, instruction, or prediction found in a letter. Did the sick person revive? Was Ellen White's instruction heeded or rejected? Were predictions or promises fulfilled? Now the annotations fill you in on the rest of the story. This new volume may be the very best way to study the Pen of Inspiration because you see all of her writings unfiltered while still discovering the missing context. Now you have the ability to read between the lines.
Still ahead, understanding why the world is shifting to mobile tech devices.
But up next, how to spot the difference between efficiency and effectiveness in children's ministries.
Welcome back. For this month's Children's Ministry segment, Sostin Mafune shares how parents and ministry leaders should find effective ways to reach children.
Welcome. I would like to talk about efficiency and effectiveness. Two words, they sound the same, but they're profoundly different. Efficiency, having a PhD in children's ministries, that's efficiency. There are many people who are efficient, academically equipped to work with children. That's great. But what really matters is effectiveness. You can have a PhD in children's ministries, but not very effective. To buy a bicycle for your child, that is efficiency. Riding a bicycle with your child, that is being effective. To buy books for your children, that is efficiency. But reading with your child, that is effectiveness. letting your children listen to CDs on prayer, that is efficiency. But praying with your children, that is effectiveness. Let us be effective in working with our children.
In the third of a 7-part series, Chip Dizard sheds light on the growing trend to ditch computer desktops in favor of tablet devices.
The world is going mobile. According to Pew Research data in January 2014, 90% of adults have a cell phone, 58% of adults have a smartphone, and 32% of adults own an e-reader. 42% of adults own a tablet computer. This massive shift to mobile has not only changed the tech environment, but also the behavior of those living inside it. Mobile's impact can be seen in 3 key trends. People crave immediacy and convenience. With a world of information just a fingertip away, people expect their needs to be met via their mobile device and fast. According to Google, 58% of mobile users expect mobile sites to load as quickly as or faster than desktop sites. Smartphones have gone social. With social networking sites such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram seeing more visitors through mobile and desktop, smartphones are connecting people to their networks constantly. According to Buffer, 189 million Facebook users are mobile only, and YouTube has a wider reach of US adults aged 18 to 34 than any cable network. People are tapping into social networking sites to better engage with the world in real time. Tablets are the new PCs. According to TechCrunch, by mid-2014, tablets will outsell PCs, as tablet sales exploded by 282% from 2011 to 2013. An estimated 82 million people that use tablets in the US alone, and of that number, 77% claim to have decreased laptop and PC usage after purchasing a tablet. Tablets allow users to browse the internet, read books, and even watch from a lightweight device. Simplicity and mobility are the new trends in tech. Now that I have given you all of these statistics, next week I will talk about mobile apps and mobile sites and 3 ways to help your church and ministry take advantage of the mobile-first world.
Most Pathfinder clubs travel to the Oshkosh International Camporee by cars, by buses, by planes. Some hitchhike there, some walk there. But a group of Pathfinders from the U.S. states of North and South Carolina reached their destination by riding their bicycles. The North American Division sent this report.
We started from Asheville, North Carolina on Sunday, July 27. So we were about 16 days in this trip. We stopped off in Battle Creek and toured Adventist Village last week. Plus we took Sabbath off from riding. So we averaged about 60 miles a day. Our long day was 110. Our short day was about 40 miles. And we stayed in Adventist churches and schools along the way.
It's a fun ride to come to Oshkosh. As I said, we've done it 3 times. It's an interesting way to get here. No other conference, no other club comes on a bicycle. The Bike for Life program is to develop our kids into leaders. It also is to promote a healthy Christian lifestyle and promote some spiritual growth as well. And that helps them feel more comfortable in talking about Christ, and gives them an opportunity to witness to their peers as well as to others along the way.
I've ridden for about 3 months now, and my role was, for the most part, was to be the lead for the group. And I'd have this radio in one ear, and Brian Alberg, our logistics director, would radio from the back, speed up, slow down. I'd be listening for directions left, right, and in the other ear. And so I was out front pacing, making sure everybody was going the right direction.
So we have individuals from across the Carolinas, both South and North Carolina.
Davey, 67.
Elodie, 13.
Dre, 16.
Parker LeClaire, 13.
There were 14 people in total. 11 of those were riders and 3 were support. It's amazing when you get a bunch of people together that close doing something that's rigorous. There's a lot of opportunity for people's temperaments to come out, and I think we really came through as a group, and I think that our Christian experience came through, and it really strengthened our understanding of how we get along with people, with God in our lives.
I've been training for 2 months. Probably the most challenging thing was the headwinds. Because I'm so light and the headwinds blow me away pretty easily.
We had tremendous response from people along the way. They saw the jerseys and they were asking, they was like, "No way, you got to be kidding me. You didn't start from Asheville, North Carolina." Yeah, we did. And we have little brochures that we would give out that talk about health, and also have an invitation for people to contact a website, a telephone number, if they want to have some study in the Bible.
God blessed me because He made my willpower stronger. It was fun, but I'm glad it's over with.
Now let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history. This week, the Seventh-day Sabbath-keeping Adventists held their second Bible conference.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. On August 18, 1848, the second Bible Conference of Seventh-day Sabbath-keeping Adventists took place in Volney, New York, on the farm of David Arnold. The Bible Conferences of 1848 were a vital step in the development of the still inchoate Sabbatarian Adventist movement. During those conferences, key doctrines were debated and agreed. On August 19 in 1866, Michael Berliner Tchaikovsky baptized 2 people in Lake Neuchâtel in Switzerland. Tchaikovsky was a Polish immigrant to the United States, where he became a believer in the Seventh-day Sabbath. Eager to take Adventist doctrines back to his home continent, he returned to Europe in 1864 as a self-supporting missionary and raised up several small congregations of Sabbath keepers. On August 23 in 1951, at the suggestion of General Conference President W.H. Branson, the General Conference officers voted to hold a denominational Bible conference in 1952. This became one of the 2 or 3 most important conferences of Adventist theologians and Bible teachers ever held, shaping Adventist doctrines for over 20 years. And 22 years later, on August 23, 1974, the General Conference President's Executive Advisory voted to recommend that, in harmony with Mrs. Ellen G. White's counsel on the desirability of ordaining deaconesses, the Church institute such a practice on the level of the local church. However, not until 2010 was the church manual amended, formally providing for the ordination of deaconesses. That was This Week in Adventist History.
Thank you very much for watching ANN, and join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
But in the meantime, join our global conversation on Facebook and Twitter. You can connect with other Adventists worldwide and find links to more stories, photos, and videos. Visit Facebook/Adventist News or Twitter/Adventist Church.
And our good news from this week comes from Psalms chapter 33, verses 4 and 5. The passage says, "For the word of the Lord is right and true. He is faithful in all he does. The Lord loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of his unfailing love."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.